What's up, cinephiles? And welcome to our review of Netflix's brand new series, The Witcher.
Now, The Witcher chronicles the story of one Geralt Rivia, played by Henry Cavill, a witcher that is trained at a young age to practically kill beasts and other forms of monsters. Also stars Anya Chalotra as Yennefer of Vengerberg, a quarter-elf sorceress, and a princess named Ciri, played by Freya Allan. This is an epic scale of a TV series. Characters and archetypes you've known for RPG games. We have a mage, we have a swordsman, we have an assassin, we have a bard. Everything that you can geek out for all gamers out there is in here. The timeline, it jumps from multiple events throughout the history. And I've just realized that this is not actually the story of The Witcher. This works more as a prologue.
Yes.
I want to hear your thoughts first, knowing that you're a gamer.
I haven't really read the books, but I am a really big fan of the video games. This might be a bit biased review coming from me, but before I watch this series, I already have love for all these characters. I love this series. I mean, I can see what many people's issues can be with this series because, yeah, it's not necessarily perfect, but me having that love before watching this series, it's just really great for me to see them on screen. Their adventures before the video games, how they met, how they interacted, how they fell in love.
First, let's talk about Henry Cavill. I actually watched some gameplay here.
Okay.
And he has the Geralt's voice spot on. It's really a tough job speaking on low voice.
It's looked like he's having the time of his life. I think he's having much more fun playing this character than Superman.
Yeah.
Because Henry Cavill is also a gamer, he's a fan of the books, and he really took into heart of what it means to be Geralt of Rivia.
Even though he's doing this low voice and stone cold face, you can't find yourself gravitating towards this character because he's an upstanding man. He has his principles, his morals. He's not this merciless killer who does all these kills for money. That's what's interesting about this character, is that it never really shows this one-dimensional character who's just out there to slay. Henry Cavill is able to do a multi-dimensional act. The more interesting character here is Yennefer of Vengerberg.
Yeah, she actually had the most characterization of the entire series. I really dig her arc. From what people are telling me, Yennefer really didn't have that much of a backstory even in the books, and for them to expound on her character here in this series and really pull it off on how great her character was fleshed out. She came from this hunchback who is not really confident to this really powerful sorceress in a span of 8 episodes, and they pulled it off.
I guess I have to go now with my issues, and I know you're gonna see this coming. It has to do with the pacing. I believe it's only by episode 3 that it's revealed that those two major storylines of Geralt of Rivia and Ciri are not actually taking place in the same timeline. It can be confusing at first. It's a common rule of thumb that when you're going to flashbacks or previous scenes, whether it's a TV show or a movie, they change the color scheme. They tweak the color scheme. So I feel like I needed that, especially once that it's already established in episode 3 that we're working on different timelines. So it keeps jumping on this timeline. There's Geralt in the present day. Then it goes back on Geralt on the past. And you can't differentiate it. So it might take a couple of minutes. Oh, no, that's actually Geralt from the past. And you know, your head is making these connections. It works as an interactive viewing, but this could have worked better if they do more character-centric episode, like they did an episode for Yennefer, right? I guess it's more on concentrating which of these stories will thematically fit into this episode, so as to take them as a battle episode without really confusing much of the viewer. So yeah, that's my main gripe for this film.
Another thing that I think will really throw some people off, this series really doesn't explain much. It just kinda assumes that the viewer knows about this world. Yeah, let's face it, most of the people who's gonna watch this probably read the books or played the video games. You, for instance, they're gonna say, for example, Aretusa, they're gonna talk about the tensions between the dwarves, the elves. You don't really have that much background about those. So I think that's gonna throw some people off. I think my main negative is the arc of Ciri. If you think about it, Ciri is the most integral character to the plot. Much more than Geralt, actually, because I won't spoil anything, but she really didn't have much to do.
Besides from running away.
Besides from running away.
Yeah, I think it would have served better if Ciri is introduced here more as a secondary character and they really just focus for this first season, at least for Geralt and Yennefer's arc. Netflix wants to turn this into their own Game of Thrones. And I think it's gonna work given the massive popularity this show. I think it's one of the most seen shows in Netflix. While it's a lot different from Game of Thrones, that it's not a slow piece moving drama. It's less on the cerebral approach and it's more on the swashbuckling tale. And for that, I can enjoy it. Especially, I love the dynamic between Geralt and Jaskier, who plays the bard. It is in those moments that really shine. Every episode, they have their quest, they have their mission of capturing these monsters.
If you look at the Rotten Tomatoes score of this series, it's not really high. And I think the main reason for that is the unfair assumption that this will be the next Game of Thrones. It's really different from Game of Thrones. But you can really
fault that because they kind of marketed that Game of Thrones is over a year ago and now you're introduced to this world-building show.
I think people
you can't help people to associate.
It's just people are still, in a way, really struggling to cope in a post-Game of Thrones world. They're really looking for that new fantasy medieval setting series,
but tone-wise, not really.
It's not.
This is a very light approach.
Yes,
the tone really ping-pongs from heavy stuff to light stuff, unlike Game of Thrones where it's really serious also.
Game of Thrones is very political, and although here in the Witcher world there's definitely some politics, it is mainly about Geralt, Ciri, and Yennefer. It's their stories, whereas Game of Thrones has this bunch of characters all over the world trying to vie for the throne. I want to tell you people, don't expect another Game of Thrones here.
You know what? I'm also guilty with that. Going into The Witcher, I had this preconceived notion that this is gonna be the next Game of Thrones. But when I realized that this is more a plot-driven light show, it's not really cerebral, I took off those preconceived notion and enjoyed the series for what it is. Coming from someone who hasn't played the game or who hasn't read the novel series, yes, the pacing threw me off, but this is a series that I am excited on how it's going to branch out more. It shows so much potential. There are a lot of fantasy elements here that we crave as a viewer. And also, it has strong performances, even though the romance subplot didn't really sell for me, which is also one of the central themes. It didn't bother me much. I just enjoyed this series for what it is. So I'm gonna rate the season 1 of Witcher 3.5 out of 5 stars.
If you can tell, I really love this. I really love this series. As a matter of fact, after I finished this, I replayed The Witcher 3. I'm playing it right now because I want to visit this world again. Because I think season 2 will be on 2021. For you gamers, I know you have an idea what's gonna happen, but for you new viewers on the Witcher world, stay tuned because there's some crazy shit about to go down in this series, and I am so excited for more. I really love these characters. I'm going to give this series 4.5 out of 5 stars.
That's it for our review of the season 1 of The Witcher. Gamers, not gamers, let us know. Have you seen this season? Please tell us what you think.
Toss a coin to you, Witcher.
Oh, Valley.
If you like this video, hit that like button and subscribe to our channel. And we'll see you on the next one.
Bye.